Are you facing some kind of problem right now? Is there a situation in your life that is problematic that you want to change but you don't know what to do? Maybe you made a mistake and this had negative consequences. Or maybe somebody else messed up and you are paying the consequences now. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix any problem and turn any situation around very fast. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. If you're new here, hi. I'm Scarlet Grace, I'm a manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you manifest your heart's desires. In this video, I'm going to explain how we manifest problems in our life and how to fix them. I will actually give you a story directly from Neville Goddard where he manifested a problematic situation in his life and managed to turn things around in 48 hours and completely resolve the problem. And I wanted to share this story with you because I know that many of you, especially those of you that have been watching my videos for a while and know how to manifest, you feel very bad when a negative situation shows up because you know that we manifest everything in our reality. So you start blaming yourselves for manifesting a problem, manifesting something unwanted. And I'm here to tell you that this is not actually a problem and it happens to the best of us. So you don't need to blame yourself when something negative pops up in your reality. That doesn't mean that you're a failure or that you're doing anything wrong. That just means that you're a powerful manifestor. And things cross our minds all the time. You may read the newspaper, you may read something negative, and that plants a negative seed in your reality. You may hear somebody complaining, and that may plant a negative seed in your reality. That's not an issue. You planted the seed that created the negative situation, which means that you have the power to change it just as easily. And it doesn't mean that you don't know how to manifest, quite the opposite. It happened to Neville too. In this story that I'm going to share with you today, you are going to see how Neville himself, who taught all those things about manifesting and had so many students with incredible success stories, he manifested problematic situations too, because he didn't realize he was doing it. And just like you, sometimes it took him a few days to realize that he had the power to turn things around. I'm going to share with you exactly what happened and when he realized that he could turn things around and what he did so that you can do the same thing for any kind of problem, any kind of unwanted situation you may find in your own reality right now. He turned things around within 48 hours in an incredible way, and you can do the same. But before we jump into this, if you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of assumption and Neville Goddard's teachings, then subscribe and hit the bell icon. I also have several self-study courses to help you manifest, including a 21-day course on how to manifest your specific person, which is recently updated with more meditations, more material, bonus lessons to help you manifest your specific person even more easily, even faster. As well as a 5-day challenge that will help you remove any blocks you have around a specific manifestation so that you can get it fast. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, coaching is now open. You can find the links for all of those things in the description below. The story I'm going to share with you today is from The Law of the Identical Harvest by Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard said, "So here we have a law. It is a principle, and morning, noon, and night, you and I are operating this principle and we can't stop it. If the world seems confused today, it's confused because we, the operant power, made it what it is." So he basically says that whatever is happening in your reality right now, you are the one who planted the seed for those events. And he explains, most of us do not remember. We do not remember the moment when we planted the seed, but every natural effect has a spiritual cause and not a natural. A natural cause only seems. It is a delusion of the withering vegetable memory. We cannot quite relate the harvest to anything that we've done. What Neville is saying here is that we plant seeds for events without even realizing it. And then when that event comes up and it is negative, we wonder why it is happening. And we're looking to the physical world to figure out how it was created, but it doesn't get created through the physical world. It's not other people who create the problem. It's not reality that creates the problem. It's the seed that we planted that we don't even remember when and how we did it that manifested that situation. But that's not the problem. because you planted that seed and you can change reality by planting a new seed or by changing what happened in the past. That is what revision is for. And it happens to everybody. It happened to Neville too, to plant negative seeds and even take days to figure out that, hey, this is something that I manifested in my reality because I manifest everything in my reality. I teach those principles. I teach those things. I know what to do to fix it and actually take action. And this is what the story that I'm going to share with you is about. So here is the story in Neville's own words. I will give you one that is very personal. When I planted it, I do not know. But I had to have planted it. And I will show you that even though you plant unlovely things unwittingly, you need not be the victim. You can revise it and change it, even though you are confronted with a seemingly insoluble problem. When I left here last year in the month of July, I checked my 2 suitcases at the airport. When I arrived in Los Angeles, one was missing. The contents I could not replace for $1,500. There are all the lovely dresses that my wife has, and all her dresses are made by a certain couturier in Beverly Hills, and not one is under $195. She has made these dresses over the years for her. They were not new, but I couldn't replace them. Anyone under $195, plus other things in that suitcase. My suits were in another suitcase, perfectly all right. I recorded the loss. They said, when we find it, if we find it, we will send it right over to you, Mr. Goddard. After 5 days and not a word, we called, and they said, it is lost. We've made every effort and it cannot be found. Put in a claim and send it off to San Diego, the headquarters for the PSA office. My wife did the legitimate thing in the world of Caesar. She itemized the contents to the best of her ability and what it would take to replace the items in that suitcase. That morning, about 2 o'clock, I awoke and said, now look here, I teach this principle, and so I have brought about the loss in my own world. I will have none of it. I teach revision. I heard what the man said over the telephone. The thing is lost. They cannot find it. We have looked high and low. Then you read in the papers that hundreds of millions of dollars are stolen every year at our airports, depots, and the wharves across the country, and it's an inside job, as it were. So, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I took in my hands my suitcase. I felt the weight of it. I could feel the weight. I could see in my mind's eye the grey bag with the black leather. I could actually feel it, and I felt it with a sense of relief, for of all the pleasures in the world, relief is the most keenly felt. When you are expecting someone and they are late, someone you truly love and they are late, and it gets later and later and you get anxious, and then you hear the familiar voice, you know the relief that comes. Well now, that's what you do when you feel that relief. And then I dropped it and got up and went into my living room and simply read my Bible. It was early. We have a lovely apartment and it was quiet. We have no neighbors. I turned on the lights and read my Bible. The next day, no report. The following day, I received a letter postmarked San Francisco, a strange, peculiar hand printing my name, Neville Goddard. The address was correct. When I opened the letter, there was the little note in the same peculiar print. Your suitcase is in box 524. Sorry, the Phantom. And enclosed, a key. So I called the security guards at the Los Angeles airport and told them the contents of the letter. I said, I have the key. Well, we'll investigate immediately. Which they did. They called back within a matter of 5 or 10 minutes to tell me that there is no such box in Los Angeles. I reminded them that the letter came from San Francisco, so he said, all right, I'll call you back. He called San Francisco, and the security guards got the local police, and they opened 524. And there was my suitcase. They opened it up in the presence of the policeman, and the whole thing was ransacked. Completely ransacked, utterly turned inside out. They sealed it and flew it down and asked me to come over with my wife, and in the presence of the security guards in LA, they would open my suitcase in my presence, which they did. Not a handkerchief was missing. Everything was turned inside out. The man was most apologetic, and he said, Mr. Goddard, I'm awfully sorry. We are sorry for the company. These things happen. We do not know how they happen, but they happen. May we clean the things for you? I said no. That is something that my wife and I do every year. We travel for more than 2 weeks. Everything we wear is dry cleaned. So it is a little problem of ours, and we've always done it. Then he gave me his personal card and said, "The next time you and Mrs. Goddard travel on PSA, you are our guests." I took the card and gave it to my wife, and now we are here and going back as the guests of PSA. But we did not lose one handkerchief, not a thing, but it was a complete mess. What they were looking for, I do not know, but they found nothing there. However, that's done. So let's take a look at what happened here so that you can do the same in your own life, in your own reality. Neville and his wife were traveling, and when they arrived back in Los Angeles, one of the suitcases was missing. They were going to be notified if it turned up, but 5 days had gone by and the suitcase was still missing. And then after 5 days, in the middle of the night, Neville woke thinking, "Hey, I teach these things. Something negative happened. I can use revision to change things. I can use revision to turn things around." And that's what he did. And how he used revision in this example is very simple. He took his own suitcase, the one that wasn't lost, which was just like his wife's, and held it and felt the weight of it and saw the colors. And then he thought, if this was my wife's suitcase, the one that was missing, and I was holding it in my hands now, I would feel relief that it was finally found and returned and nothing was missing. So he felt that sense of relief while feeling and holding the suitcase, and he focused on that feeling of relief. Now the next day, nothing happened. But the day after that, he received a mysterious letter, and that letter was from the person who had taken the suitcase. And it contained the number of the box where the thief had put the suitcase, and also the key to that box. So Neville notified the authorities, and they actually found the suitcase. And everything in it was still inside. It was all dirty, all rumbled up, but nothing, absolutely nothing, was missing. Now, think about it for a moment. This was not a suitcase that was missing. This was a suitcase that got stolen. If you didn't know about manifesting, how unlikely would it seem that the thief who took your suitcase would actually decide to return it without taking anything from it, even though there were things of value in it, and go out of their way to figure out your address and mail you the key and the number of the box where they had put the suitcase? It's insane. Things like that rarely happen in physical life, right? But see how when you plant the seed, reality changes to give you what you want. Neville planted a new seed, a seed where the suitcase was returned and it was intact. Nothing was missing. Nothing was lost and nothing was stolen. He didn't try to figure out what happened. He didn't try to figure out if it was lost, if somebody stole it, or if it truly was an inside job. He just felt the suitcase in his hands and the relief he would feel if it had been returned, if it had been located and everything was in it. That's all he did. He didn't bother to decide how it was going to happen. And it happened in this insane way where the person who stole the suitcase decided to return it without taking anything from it. So what is a situation in your life that is bothering you right now? It can be something that seemingly has nothing to do with you, something that other people created in your life, like somebody stealing from you, or spreading rumors about you, or breaking up with you, or firing you. Or it can be something that you feel you caused. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you said something you shouldn't have. Maybe you hurt somebody and they're not forgiving you. It can be anything. Choose any situation in your life that you don't like right now and realize that this situation is only in your reality because you planted the seed of it. And it doesn't matter if you cannot remember what you may have done, what you may have thought, what you may have focused on, what you may have imagined to plant that seed. It doesn't matter because this whole reality is under your control. Everything that happens in it, you have planted the seed. But that also means that no matter what is happening right now, just as easily as you created it without even realizing you were doing it, you can decide to change it. And you change it by imagining something different. You can either use revision to imagine that the situation played out differently in the past, so it never got created, whatever it was. The person that is angry with you right now, never got angry with you. The thing that you did that was a mistake and you regret now, you never did it. Or you can imagine the situation being fully resolved. The person who's not talking to you, you're friends again, or you're back together again and happier than ever. The job you were fired from, you're back working for them. Or you have a completely new job that pays double what your old job was paying you. The thing that went missing, it has been returned. The thing that got stolen, it has been retrieved. Imagine that. Imagine the situation resolved and feel the relief. What would it feel if that situation was resolved? And if you cannot access this feeling of the situation being resolved and you feeling relief immediately, you can go to another situation just like Neville describes. He describes, the feeling of relief when you're waiting for a loved one and they're late and time passes and they keep not coming and you're worried that something happened to them and then suddenly they show up. You know what that feeling of relief feels like. So you can imagine a situation like that so that you can access that feeling of relief, and then imagine that your current situation, the one that you want resolved, is resolved. The problem doesn't exist anymore. It's already gone. It's already resolved. You don't have to figure out the how. You just have to imagine that it is resolved and feel that relief. And linger in those feelings, dwell in those feelings, or fall asleep feeling those feelings. And don't think of the problem again. It's gone. It doesn't exist in your reality. You don't have to think about it again because it's in the past. And if it crosses your mind again, just go back to that feeling of relief and tell yourself, isn't it amazing that it got resolved so miraculously? I'm so relieved and so grateful that it was just resolved out of nowhere. It's gone. I don't have to worry about it ever again. And stick with that, and you will see your life transform and that situation turn around overnight. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any video that could change your life.